Hello friends, how are you today? Yesterday I put out a video talking about the Schumann resonance and whether or not CERN could have an effect on the resonances. And the reason that I wanted to do that was so that I could get into this video today, because I wanted to clarify the effect that we are going to look at in the Schumann resonance. And to clarify, I did not feel that that was from CERN. I'll link the two videos in which I mentioned that technology. I explained this concept of frequency bands and that reality occurs within ranges and that they're perceptible in different ways to human beings. Like, for example, there's the visual light range. So there's the range of what we can see with our eyes. And we know that there's information, that there's things that exist in ranges that we cannot see with our eyes. Why is that? Well, I can get Wi-Fi on my computer, right? When I turn the machines on, I get the router plugged in and it's beaming out the signal. I know that my computer is hooking to the internet and I've now opened access to this wide range of information that exists in that seemingly non-physical space that then I have access to physically through my computer. When I use my cell phone, right, I know that there's a non-physical stream of energy that my phone is connecting with, and that's why I can hear a voice on the other side, or why I can view a video on my phone. So beyond the physical body experience of thoughts and emotions, or other felt experiences, or perceived sense known experiences, we do intellectually have an understanding that there is non-physical energy that exists that we interact with on a day-to-day basis, and we accept that we just can't see it and it doesn't bother us. So for a person like me who spends a lot of time thinking about this, there's not very much difference between the concept of Wi-Fi and the concept of an angel. You see, it's just two non-physical things that exist in a space where I can't see them. Now, one I'm accessing with physical technology, whether it's a cell phone in the example or the computer. In the other, I'm accessing with the human technology of my body system and my energy system. And the processing through my human technology of perceiving an angel or perceiving a negative force in the non-physical, that technology is just as valid as something that man created or humankind created in the form of a computer or a cell phone. In fact, I would assert that the technology of the human system is more advanced because it was made by the Creator. And our ability to perceive in so many ways beyond we usually acknowledge day to day is incredible. And these are the kind of experiences that we share, when we're one-on-one with friends, or we're sitting around a campfire, or we're sharing, in a group about spiritual matters or whatever it happens to be. In the experience of our reality that we're perceiving as a Schumann resonance, what I saw over the last few days was what I would call a frequency war. That's just the word that keeps coming to mind, so I thought I would use it. And I want to show you where that initiates, but as I mentioned in yesterday's video, it initiated with the technological effect, and there was a specific action and reaction. And so I thought it would be interesting to show that to you and share my thoughts on it. So this is an image of the chart for the last few days. This morning essentially looks just like this. This series of small waves here was initiated after this black line, and perhaps after these two sort of thin, I usually call these rods of white resonance. And I'm just going to look at the graphics chart today, and I'm not going to look at frequency, amplitude, and quality because I want to focus on one message. What this looks like to me, this looked very artificial to me. And the reason it looked artificial was the way that it has these black lines on the chart, the way that they show up and the little hooks that they make. See the double line here? Okay, first. Prior to 8 hertz, so 0 is right up here. Between 0 and 8, which is an extremely important range of frequencies. Why? Because this is where, coincidentally, it overlaps with human brain waves for the unconscious, for the subconscious, and for the natural frequency of the planet, which would be right in here, which is about 7.83. So that's about where this green line is. Right there, right? When you engage the planetary energies, you see this dark dots starting to show up. And then you see these dark lines. They almost look like hooks into this technological effect. This is often what the technological effect would look like, right? Except for not covered with all this stuff. So it looks like something was attempting to hook into that technology, and then you see that ability to hook in fails as you get into the high beta range. Let me just show you. I know where the numbers are on the chart, even looking at it like this, but from doing this for so long. But yeah, see 28 to 40. It fails between 28 and 40. So this effect of attempting to hook in to where the technological effect normally is only successful between about 8 hertz and 28 hertz. So for a range of about 20 hertz. And again, these are comparable with the brain waves of humans. In a human being, these brainwaves would include the alpha, the low beta, the mid beta, and then sort of getting into the high beta, but most of the high beta is not affected. And then the gamma waves are not affected either up here. So this is, like I said, this is a guess, but this is what I think happened. And these patterns here are interesting because they remind me of moon lines that periodically show up. And I think of a moon line, which I have seen related to the new moon or full moon. It reminds me of a transmission, okay? That's what those moon lines remind me of. I don't know what kind of transmission, and it's just a guess. But here's what I think. I think that it's possible that the technological effect may be in the background or somehow may have been called forth and attacked essentially by something else, by whatever's generating these black lines. And I'm sorry, I didn't turn my notifications off. So it's like there was an attempt to co-opt the technological effect that normally shows. And then we have this black line. And what I think happened is that a canceling energy was sent from whatever produces the technological effect to essentially cast this off. And we don't get to see that. We don't get to see what happened there. And then we have another line. Now this one appears the way that a technological effect might present. You see there's a black line that seems to shadow the line with colors, but the line with colors looks perfectly natural. So it's almost like there's a divine response or a natural response from human consciousness. And you see this dark line here. Okay, so that may or may not be fully natural, but a natural response is prompted after this engagement, I believe, is thrown off. And the reason that I believe it was thrown off is I think that we don't see what happens here, and then it does not continue in the longer chart over the next few days. And there doesn't appear to be any lagging effect of this, but something else happens. And what is that? We have a series of 3 key things. The first is there's a response at 8 hertz where the red and yellow is kicked up. It's almost like there's a clearing of the ranges of red and yellow frequencies around the 8 hertz lines here. The second thing that happens is we have a sort of a roundish energy that's clearing and a rod energy. Again, deeply imbued with this red and yellow energy. Now, these very long, extremely low frequency hertz waves can go around the planet more than once. And so it is possible that this line here, 1, 2, 3, it's possible that it's the same energy going around the planet, and then perhaps again here, and that this here, 1, 2, 3, is another set of energies going around the planet. And then this red here with a flare-up, and then if there's a flare-up, it may be, if there are other ones, it may be in these other structures, and then you see it again here and here. So there are 3 key shapes, and all of them appear to get larger and then transmute. So the frequencies turn white. So an expanded consciousness, this is how I interpret that, an expanded consciousness is brought to this process of transmutation of the deep red, the deep yellow, and I explained what I feel these represent on the video that has the word CERN in the title, which was a nice short video. You could take a look at that if you want more. But look at this. I mean, this doesn't even look like a transmuting flame. So there was a frequency war here, and then it played out energetically in 3 types of forms or shapes of energy. Since then, the energy has come off, right? The strength of it is lessened, and we may be at the end of a pattern here. But there was a barrage of activity. This is what it looks like in terms of graphing frequencies or charting them. In terms of the real world that we live in, this is what it looked like. There was the technology effect, the counter, and then I feel the throwing off of it. And then there was Independence Day. And this is from the Western world perspective because this is where I live, so this is where I'm familiar with. But you could easily put other things that happened around the world on this chart. And if you want to pitch into the conversation, please comment. As long as your comments are discreet, then I'm happy to have an exchange. I love hearing a lot of you guys add some really interesting thoughts. Okay, so in the real world, then what happened was Independence Day, the guide stones were destroyed. There was a major resignation of a political figure and the elimination of a political figure. So it was some pretty like serious, big, impactful energy. And I don't think that we've really been acknowledged how major this was. It feels intuitively, and because it seems to represent a major shift in a frequency war that then plays out in the real world as certain, the real world being the world that humans experience physically. It plays out as certain events happening. But I thought that it would be interesting to show you the frequency war and what it seemed to look like here with the technological effect, to correlate it with real world events, and then to show you the different ways that we can experience the world and how the non-physical is deeply integrated with the living world that we experience as human beings.